Hello, Booktube, and welcome back. Well, it's November the 11th or 12th. Can't remember. I think it's November the 12th. Oh, I don't know. And I've just remembered that I haven't done last month's reading wrap up. So I'm going to do it now because I'm that sort of a person. I can't skip things. uh, so last month, I think I read. I've got them all listed in front of me, but I can't be bothered counting. 11 books. I usually do about 15 or 16, but I give myself a little bit of relaxing time because the month prior to that was a quite reading intense month, a lot of big books. So I chilled a bit with 10, 11 books. It's still a lot. And I think the majority of them, looking at them, 9 non-fiction to 2 fiction, which is the balance I prefer. Even though I do love me fiction, but non-fiction is where I'm at. So I'm going to quickly run down all 11 of these books and share with you what I read in, what month is this? I can't even remember. It's October last month, wasn't it? Yes, it's October. What I read in October 2025. So let's kick it off. I've talked about 2 of these books. I seem to have said loads of things about them. I've made plenty of videos of these. So I finished Captives and Companions by Justin Mrazzi. This was one of the Bailey Gifford books. Bailey Gifford non-fiction prize books, and this is all about slavery in the Islamic world. We all know of slavery, well, the majority of European slavery and the Atlantic slave trade, but I haven't read that much about the slave trade in the Islamic world, concubines and how slaves could rise up and be like really, really powerful, eunuchs, all that kind of stuff from that whole spread from North Africa to the Middle East, and how they traded as well slaves with the European empires, and it's all good, and it's really, really well done. There's some, like, what you're reading books about slavery, so it's not all like positive. Some of it's like, oh, that's horrible, but there's some really, really really well researched, and even though it is a big book, it goes by quite quickly. And I believe Justin Mrazzi has done quite a few books in that region, so he is an expert, so he knows what he's talking about, and it's an immensely readable book. I think it did make it to my Bailey Gifford shortlist. So that's one. The second book I read is The River Alive by Robert Macfarlane. I love Robert Macfarlane, I really do. He's a sort of nature / travelogue / philosophy kind of a writer, and his books are so good. And this one, it's all about rivers, hence the name. Should rivers have the same kind of rights as humans? Near enough, and he travels the world, with India and across Africa, and gives stories of, his time there, the woman who's obsessed with mushrooms. And then Robert, if you've not read any Robert Macfarlane books, he waxes lyrical. He really does. He's kind of like I believe he's actually got volumes of poetry, Robert Macfarlane, about nature, and that's how his non-fiction books are written. Very, very. It's nice. It's a horrible word, that, but it's very nice. Very well. It's very engaging. It's very well worth a read. If you'd not pick up any Robert Macfarlane books, go for. I've got props. This is probably his best. Underland is my personal favourite. Is about everything that's below you. If I can get it back in. But Is the River Alive is equally as good, and it's all about, we should have more respect for our rivers and whatnot. I'll put that back now. That's just going to annoy me. So that's another great non-fiction book that I read last month. Another one I've seen to have talked about, that's driving me insane. That it's like sticking out. So like, Alex, put me back properly, put me back properly. Give me a second. Get back in, you devil. Here we go. So the next one I read is, again, this is from the Bailey Gifford. It's the Revolutionists by Jason Burke. This is very much about terrorism during I think starting in the late 60s to the early 1980s. So it covers that period. So it's, and the main protagonist in this book is Carlos the Jackal. This book was my personally favourite from the Bailey Gifford. This is such an amazing non-fiction book. It is brilliant. So it is looking at the history of the terrorists themselves rather than, agents who are covered. Although they do interview agents, people who survived the terrorist attacks, and the actual terrorists themselves. He does interview all that. But oh god, this book is so good. I've never read a book like it at all. But yeah, it's all about hijacking planes. The way they kidnapped the Israeli team in the Olympics. What year was that? Was that the early 70s? And it covers a wide array of how it started off kidnapping planes but letting hostage go until it got more and more brutal as the years went by. Again, fantastic book. Everyone should read it. Okie dokie. Book 4, another non-fiction, pardon me. This is The Theory of Everything Else by Dan Schreiber. Again, this is a book I read just after all the Bailey Gifford books. So I wanted something quite lighter, quite kind of a book. And it's a book about conspiracies. Brilliant. Again, with all conspiracies, I might believe less than 1% of all conspiracies, but as you say, conspiracies have got that, they'll pull you in. So a lot of conspiracies, aliens get talked to about this book. The funny one is about the guy who who invented the PCR machine, the polymerase chain reaction. You've probably seen it in like documentaries like CSI. Do you know where you get the DNA to test it and you get those bands on the screen? That guy invented that machine. But the guy actually believed he had a full-on conversation with a glowing raccoon who spoke English. It's got all kind of like funny stuff. And there's a woman in it who she actually composed music on the piano and whatnot. I can't remember. She did have an album release. I can't remember the album off the top of my head now, but she got help from previous dead composers. So like Bach and Beethoven. She was a medium. Apparently, they helped her write these. He composed these music. So it's a very like kind of a book, and the way the author presents it, it's very light-hearted. He's not trying to take this serious at all, and it's a really good kind of book. It's you want something simple, smash it down, 200 to 300 pages, something like that. What else did I read? I also read James Kaplan's book 3 Shades of Blue. Oh, my back's going. So this is I don't know anything about jazz at all, and this book really pulled me in. So it's about Miles Davis, Johnny Coltrane, and Billy Evans, and it's like the late 50s and early 60s, and I think it touches on the 70s jazz scene and how those three influential people, really kicked off jazz to like the mainstream until the Beatles and the Rolling Stones took over the mainstream. But this is this pulls no punches. It goes the history of jazz. Some of it went straight over my head when he started talking about the minutiae of jazz. That's why I like to pick more jazz books to kind of understand what's going on, to get the complete picture. But this is again, it gives mini biographies of each of them, bad things and all, drugs, misogyny, domestic violence and all that. But still a really interesting read on the early jazz history. I also read the first book in the Sharp series, so Sharp's Tiger by Bernard Cornwell. This is not the first book to be published, but it's the first chronologically, I think. Sharp is, if you don't know, is a historical fiction book set in really early imperial days, so 1800, British imperialism, but 1800, and the books I've read are in India. Sharp is probably more famous for the, can't remember if it's the BBC or the ITV TV series starring Sean Bean. I've never watched it. I'd like to, but just never got around to it. And Sharp's Tigers, Sharp's Tigers are just, it's a African campaign, not an African, an Indian campaign against the Rajas at the time. And it's good. It's a light bite historical fiction. It really is. You know, Sharp is a bit of a Jack the Lad kind of a character, and there's loads of great characters. But the actual author, Bernard Cornwell, he heavily researched the time period. So what's actually going on in the background happened. You know, not the actual story of Sharp, but you know the battles and some of the characters that appear are actually historical. And yeah, it's very light bites. You know, it is what it is. It's good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It's got one that I really interested in. Like, I think it's going to be like the main overarching villain of the Sharp series of Sergeant Haxwell. You know, he's a proper character. You know, his murder, he doesn't give a damn. But yeah, so that was Sharp's Tigers. What else did I read? Oh, I think I read 3 fiction books then. I also read Muwashi by E.G. Yoshikawa. This is a Japanese classic. I think it came out in the 30s or 40s, and it's a chunker. It is a big book. And it's about the way of the samurai. This is purely what this book is about. It's the philosophy of the samurai and travels around Japan, and a bit of swordplay. If you like your swordplay fighting scenes, there's a lot in this book as well. But that's it. Don't look for anything else in this book. That's pretty much it for 1,000 pages, and a lot of it is repeated over and over again. Unfortunately, some of the characters are pretty much bland. There's not much character development in it, but sorry, somebody just messaged me and just came across the screen like a news banner. Yeah, so Muwashi, if you're interested in Japanese philosophy, you know, the way of the samurai, any of that kind of stuff, you'll probably like it, even though it's probably, I think it's over 1,000 pages. It's a big book. But yeah, it was alright. It was alright. I also read, this is the buddy read I did with my brother, and it's a horror book, and it's Boys in the Valley by Philip Fracassi. This is a possessed man comes to an orphanage, but he's possessed with the devil, and he dies at the orphanage, and then the devil kind of goes into one of the children, and all hell breaks loose. It's one of them kind of books. And it's I think it's a very serviceable, good horror book. I'm not a massive fan of horror, he says, and I've got tons of Stephen King. But yeah, it's one of them, demon possession, and then the kids go after the kids, and it's a priest orphanage, so you know, it's attacking a priest, and then the priests have like problems with the faith and all that kind of stuff. I thought it's good. I thought it was alright. Proper popcorn horror. I think it was alright. It was quite good. I also read Allies at War by Tim Bouvier. Again, this is how the Allies corresponded during World War II. So it starts off with the British and the French, and then how the French collapsed, and then it was Britain with the Free French, and then the Greek, and then eventually, you know, how Churchill was communicating with Stalin when Operation Barbarossa happened, and then continuing in FDR. And it just goes around how even though we had strong, you know, friendships with Soviet Union, there's a lot of like backstabbing. There's a lot of like going around the corner, and I was like, oh, not this guy again. A lot of problems, even though it was because our strong allyship is why we won the Second World War. You get the good stuff in this book. I thought it was really, really interesting. I've read a book like this before. It's called is it got another prop? The Kremlin Letters, the correspondence between Churchill, Stalin, and FDR. Again, that's one hell of a big book, and that's good as well. But yeah, this one's more condensable. It's a nice read. It's a good read. I've said that word again, nice. It's a really good read, really interesting read, and how the Allies corresponded and how they won the war with the decisions that were made by, the big three of Churchill, Stalin, and FDR. So pick it up. It was a really interesting book. I also wrote. I also read The Vietnam War, A Military History by Jeffrey Warrow. This is, again, I don't know why I like Vietnam War so much. I really enjoy my military history, especially if it's a book about Vietnam, because it's so grey, isn't it? It wasn't a really nice war. And this one just covers the military, the big, wars, the big battles during the war. And it's a really, really interesting, good book. I mean, I've got plenty of overarching history books, but this one just highlights and really just concentrates on just the big battles, and then how that affected policy back home, and then how the Viet Cong, manipulated the Americans into winning the battle, basically. It was really, really interesting book. I'm a big fan of Vietnam War books, and that was really, really good. And the last one I read was The Baseball 100. I'm starting to lose my voice, by Joe Pansky. This is his opinion on the top 100 baseball characters. I was about to say the best 100 baseball players of all time. So you got the likes of Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Henry Aaron, all them, all the stars, Mickey Mantle, all them kind of stars, and in the author's opinion on how, you rank them, like, Babe Ruth number 2, whatnot, Again, each one of them is a short little biography. You've got 100 short biographies. So what I like to use these books for is, that character sounds really interesting. Let's see if he's got a bigger, more comprehensive biography than this book. But it's really, really readable, the Baseball 100. It's 800 pages, 800, 900 pages, whatever it is, but it's a really, really interesting, good book. And they're the 11 books that I read in October. Yes, it is. It's October, yeah. And I will probably speak to you soon. Bye, Booktube.